Hi, my name's David Collins. I'm a sound designer at LucasArts, and I'm here to tell you about Star Wars Battlefront II. And it's coming out this fall on the Xbox, the PlayStation 2, the PC, and we just announced here at the show that it's coming out for the Sony PSP as well. So we're really excited about going out this fall with Battlefront 2. Of course, it's the sequel to the original Battlefront, and that was the biggest selling Star Wars game of all time. So with the sequel, what we're trying to do is we're really trying to up the ante in every way that we can. You know, we went out and we listened to what the fans wanted. We solicited their feedback. We had a lot of cool ideas that we wanted to do in the sequel if we were going to do a sequel. Some things we wanted to do with the original that we're putting into the sequel that I want to show you really quickly. The first thing I want to talk about, it's a must-have for fans of the original game, or even if you haven't played the original game, is that we've added space combat to Star Wars Battlefront 2. And so what we're doing here with space is that we made it obviously very, very expansive. You can jump into any ship that you want. Why don't you go ahead and go back to the hangar, Lewis? Go back to the hangar. You can jump into any ship that you want. For example, he's going to dock right here into a Star Destroyer, and he's going to jump into a variety of ships that we've added. Now, obviously, in space combat, you can do a variety of things. You can dogfight. You can destroy capital ships. He's going to get out here, and he's going to jump into a different TIE fighter. And let's see if Lewis here, our tester, is going to go pick a fight with a few rebels. There you go. Go ahead and jump into that TIE fighter. And he's going to go out and do some dogfighting in space. So as you can see, these maps are just enormous. That hangar was huge. So now he's out in space and he can do some special aerial maneuvers. Go ahead and pull a few dogfight maneuvers. There you go. And they're all very different depending on what you're doing with the analog stick. And one of the most exciting things that you can do in space is that you can actually take your fighter and you can fly it into an enemy capital ship. And I don't mean run into some invisible wall of collision or anything. I mean, you can literally take it into the ship and dock in the hangar, get out and start picking a fight with the rebels inside the hangar. And Lewis is going to show you just how it's done right here. He's going to fly right into this rebel capital ship and go right in. And when he's there, he can steal a rebel ship if he wants, and he can go out into space and do that. He can obviously engage in some ground combat, or he can actually get into one of the ship's turrets and use the ship's turret against itself. And so there's all of these gameplay elements that are in space that are going to be fantastic in single player and multiplayer. Why don't we go ahead and move on? I'm going to show you something else. So space is a major enhancement to Battlefront 2. One of the other things that we're doing is we're adding Jedi to Battlefront 2. And this is something, they were in the first game, but we just sort of hinted at it. But this was really at the top of our radar to add in Battlefront 2. So we know that the fans were screaming for it. We've fully integrated it into single player and multiplayer. We're going to show you a little bit about that right now. This is going to be a classic level from the very first Star Wars film. Actually, this is sort of an untapped resource for Star Wars video games. This is Princess Leia's ship from the original film. Of course, you've probably seen the film, so we're going to skip through this for just the sake of moving on, and we're going to get right to it. As you can see, you can live the opening scene in Star Wars, which is what Lewis is doing here right now. Now, the way that Jedi work is that if he's doing really, really well in the battle, he'll get a radio communique that says Darth Vader's entered the battlefield in this particular case. We're going to have lots of hero characters, not just Vader. We're not giving them all away right now. We're keeping a bit of them under wraps. But if he captures this command post right here, then Lewis is going to have the opportunity to play as Darth Vader. So let's see how he does. I've been kidding him too, because we've greatly enhanced the enemy and friendly AI. So these rebels have been giving Lewis quite a run for his money here. But it looks like Darth Vader's made an entrance onto the battlefield. We'll skip past this because it's Star Wars. We know it. We love it. And it says, do you want to play as Darth Vader? Yeah, I want to play as Darth Vader. So now he's available. You're going to get in, and he's a part of your arsenal. Lewis is going to suit up as Darth Vader, and he's going to go ahead and play. And they're there to turn the tide of the battle. They all have their unique force powers, their unique lightsaber skills, but they're not there for an infinite amount of time. As you can see here at the bottom of the screen, there's a time meter, and the more you contribute to the battle, the longer you can stay as a Jedi. Of course, Vader can, in classic Vader style, force choke some opponents. Why don't you go ahead and lay down the force choke on that officer there? Even though it's his own guy, he can still force choke him and, of course, wreak havoc on the entire ship with his lightsaber. Why don't we go ahead and move on? So besides playing as Jedi, besides being in space, Episode 3 just landed in theaters. Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, just came out. It's doing really, really well at the box office. It's a huge movie. I'm not saying this as an employee. I'm saying this as a fan. It's awesome. It's a great movie. And we're including Episode 3 content into Battlefront 2. So now, for the first time, players have the entire Star Wars saga available to them, all 6 films for you to play in Battlefront 2. So we're going to show you some Episode 3 content here, also some more Jedi content. These are clone troopers, and they obviously are looking a bit more like stormtroopers nowadays. We have a new class in each faction. This is a new class in the Republic faction. This is the clone commander with his chain gun. You're on the planet Utapau, which is a sinkhole planet. It's this city that's built into the side of this crater on the surface of the planet. As you can see, these maps in Battlefront 2 are enormous. We're making these really large areas for you to play some very epic battles in. So now he's going to go in and join the battle, and while he's doing that, I also want to tell you about how we've enhanced the single-player mode of Battlefront 2. We've added a lot of story elements to Battlefront 2. So we're telling some really great stories, and one of the best stories that we're telling is of the 501st Legion of troops. And just to give you some context as to what that is, the 501st is the name of one of the largest independently run Star Wars fan organizations in the world. All those guys you see dressed up as stormtroopers at movie events, at game events, here at E3, these guys are members of the 501st Legion, also known as Vader's Fist, which is a pretty cool name. And as a nod to the fans, we're telling the story of how the 501st goes from being clone troopers in the Clone Wars to being Imperial stormtroopers in the Galactic Civil War under the tutelage of Darth Vader, although I use that term loosely. You know, he's not very kind to his troops sometimes. He's got that force choke ability. So another small addition is you can change classes at any time. You don't have to die. Players can sprint now. We've added, they're more maneuverable. We have all new vehicles, locations, weapons, characters. So this is Star Wars Battlefront 2. It's coming out this fall on the Xbox, which is what we're seeing here, the PlayStation 2, the PC, and the Sony PSP. So you definitely want to check it out. It's a great game. It's a must-have for fans of the original game. If you've never played the original game, now's a great time to get into it and check it out. We've got a lot of content. You can play it any way you want as a Jedi in Episode 3 and in space. Our great new story modes. Check it out this fall.
What's new on Battlefront 2?
Well, there's a lot that we're adding to Battlefront 2. We have everything from the first Battlefront that players loved, but we've added a lot of key enhancements. The first one is that you can play in space. So space battles are really a major part of Star Wars Battlefront 2. We've also added Jedi. We asked the fans, what do you want to see in Star Wars Battlefront? A Jedi was one of the top on the list, so you can now play as a Jedi in Star Wars Battlefront 2. We've also added Episode 3. Star Wars Battlefront, the original game, had a lot of focus on multiplayer. Obviously, we have added a lot to the single-player experience, but everything that you loved about multiplayer in the first game will also be there in Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Star Wars Battlefront 2. Come on. The first thing that I want to know about Star Wars Battlefront 2 is...
There is some Wookiee in the game, yeah. Yeah, it's there.
Why am I going to go plunk down some money to buy Battlefront 2?
We have some really major enhancements in the game. The first one is that you can fly in space. You got space combat in Battlefront 2. It's all new to Star Wars Battlefront 2. These really massive, immersive space battles. You can dogfight, you can take over capital ships. You can actually fly a TIE fighter into a rebel frigate, land, get out, and start shooting rebels. That TIE fighter pilot can jump into an X-Wing if he wants. He just, you know, and so now he's flying around in an X-Wing, blowing away rebel ships with their own ship. The other major thing that we're adding is Jedi. So it's not available in the first game, but now in Star Wars Battlefront 2, you've got Jedi characters, and they're fully integrated into single player and multiplayer as well. So Jedi are a major faction. We've got a lot of hero characters. We're not announcing all of them just yet, but we are showing Obi-Wan here at the show. This is our Obi-Wan Kenobi model. He's based on Ewan McGregor's performance. He's the young Obi-Wan. General Grievous is also in Episode 3. Darth Vader, of course. Yeah, I mean, we're definitely using hero characters that people are going to be very familiar with from the films.
Another EP assignment, another Star Wars Battlefront game, but I hope this one's going to go better than the last time.
Whoa! Are you okay? Are you... Oh my God, are you alright? I don't know what's going on. Oh my God, there's just ATST! This is Jeff Keighley signing off for EP! Ah!
Hi, I'm Jeff.
Hi, Giz. Nice to meet you.
Giz. I had a bad experience last time, so hopefully this one's going to go a bit better.
I heard that, absolutely. We've got a lot more security now. We've got bounty hunters and stormtroopers.
See, as soon as
everywhere.
I see Star Wars characters, I know this is going to go badly.
No, everything's going to be okay this time, Jeff. Trust me. So these are the digs. Do you want a martini?
No, not when I'm working, Giz. Wow, it's a great facility you guys have here. Really impressive.
Yeah, thanks. Ever since the Empire came, they really kind of spruced up the place. They've added auto turrets, some probe droids, and some holographic projector technology.
Do you mind turning it on? I'd love to take a look at the game.
Absolutely. I think that's okay.
Wow. Game looks great. Now, you know, everybody loved the first Battlefront, but what new things are you guys doing in the sequel?
One of the coolest things we have is space combat. We have fully realized space environments. We've got interiors and exteriors. We've got hangar combat and then seamless transitions into space combat. We've got bombers, flyers, transports, and a really kind of capturing that whole Star Wars feel.
What about characters? I heard you might actually be able to play Yoda in this game?
Yeah, you get to play all the classic heroes as well as all the heroes from the new trilogy. You get to play as General Grievous, as Dooku, as the Emperor, as Darth Vader, as well as all the good guys from both trilogies. Han Solo, Luke Skywalker, Leia, Chewie. In multiplayer, the heroes are a reward for being the best player on the field. So if you're the best guy, you get to be Luke Skywalker, while the best guy on the Empire side gets to be Darth Vader, and you can actually confront each other in the middle of the battlefield. So yeah, that's a glimpse of the game.
No, the game looks fantastic. Now, the one thing I forgot to ask you about was weapons. I mean, we have lightsabers, but what else do we have in this game?
We have a ton of new weapons. We've got the Bothan Spy has a invisibility cloak he can use kind of to stealth around. He's got an incinerator. Vader has force choke.
That's going to be so much fun.
Dooku has force lightning.
Right.
Darth Maul has force leap. He can do all these. Oh, hold on.
Here's the prisoner you asked for. Where do you
What's this about?
Oh, it's not a big deal. Can you throw him in the carbon freezing chamber on 16?
come with me, Rumble
What do you do to your testers?
God, not this again.
Okay, there. We've had 2 deaths in the conference room. So TK 247, TK 248, you're up.
Yeah. All right. Oh man, don't fear. I'll wait TK to
Yeah, we're gonna need you right away.
I need my field weapon. So where are we here? What's going on? Guys are dying in front of me. Guess what's going on?
You know what? Like I said, these things happen all the time. It's not a big deal.
You said this floor was going to be safer.
It's just a glitch, really.
Fall back.
I also want to introduce you to Del. He's the lead designer on the project.
Sure.
All right, let's do it.
Kid Fisto, you are an unworthy opponent.
Get away. Yeah, Del, hey, it's Jeff with EP. Guess I should swing by, ask you what's new in the gameplay this time?
Yeah, for sure. So we ended up adding a bunch of different game modes to the game. We actually added Capture the Flag. We also added Assault mode where you actually attack capital ships and try to destroy them before your enemy can destroy your capital ship. We've gone in and kind of improved a lot of the gameplay as well. One of the kind of fun new modes we did was Hunt, where you kind of hunt down indigenous species. You go hunt down Ewoks, or you hunt down Geonosins on Geonosis, even going so far as hunting down Wampas on Hoth. They're invading Echo Base, and you get to blow away these giant hulking snow beasts that are trying to invade and, you know, kill all the rebels.
You know, the game looks great, but it seems like you have kind of a lot of work left to do on it.
Yeah, we do, but I'm confident we'll be able to ship on time.
Hey,
The Emperor and I cannot believe this game will ship on
Lord
time.
Vader, everything's going perfectly according to plan.
I find your lack of faith disturbing. Let me show you what this game is really about.